Donald J. Trump sat in his lavishly furnished Mar-a-Lago estate, sipping a Diet Coke and watching the news. The world had gone mad, but that wasn't new. Tonight, however, something felt different. The evening had been peaceful. The Florida air was warm, the scent of the ocean wafting through the open French doors of the lounge. His security team, always vigilant, patrolled the estate's perimeter, their radios buzzing with routine check-ins. Trump leaned back in his chair, checking his phone. Another round of headlines attacking him. Fake news, he muttered, rolling his eyes. Then, a sudden gunshot cracked the air outside. Trump sat up. What the hell was that? A moment later, a Secret Service agent burst into the room, panting heavily. His face was pale. "Sir, we have a situation." "Yeah, no kidding." Trump placed his Diet Coke down, irritated. "Somebody shooting at us?" "It's worse than that, sir," the agent said, swallowing hard. "We have a breach at the front gate." They're not human, sir." Trump narrowed his eyes. "Not human? What are you talking about?" A chorus of screams erupted from outside. More gunfire. The agent turned toward the entrance hall, as if debating whether to run. "Zombies, sir. Real ones." Trump blinked. "You've got to be kidding me." Suddenly, another agent sprinted through the hall. He wasn't running toward them, he was running from something. Before Trump could even process it, a mangled figure tackled the agent from behind, sinking its rotting teeth into his neck. Blood sprayed across the polished marble floor. The infected man, if it had ever been a man, looked up, milky eyes locking onto Trump. Its jaw unhinged grotesquely, snarling, before it lurched forward. "Jesus!" Trump stumbled back as his security team fired. The bullets riddled the zombie's body, but it barely flinched until one round struck it square in the head. The creature dropped instantly. "Headshots," the lead agent muttered. "That's the only way to stop them." More figures shuffled into the mansion, their lifeless groans echoing through the grand halls. The doors had been left open in the chaos. Dozens of them poured in, their tattered clothes caked in dried blood. "Fall back. Secure the inner rooms," the agent shouted. Trump clenched his jaw, glancing toward the nearest exit. "Oh no, no, no. I am not letting these freaks take over my home." A pair of agents tried to shut the main doors, but one was dragged down, screaming, as zombies tore into him. The surviving agent barely managed to slam the doors before bolting them shut. For a moment, the entry hall was silent, except for the distant pounding of undead fists against the door. Trump adjusted his suit. "All right, someone tell me what the hell is going on." "We're still gathering intel," the lead agent admitted. "Communications are down across most of the state. All we know is that this thing has spread fast. Law enforcement collapsed within hours." "So, what? No backup?" "No backup, sir. It's just us now." Trump frowned. He had relied on his security detail for years, but this was something new. Something monstrous. He glanced around at his once opulent estate, now dimly lit and filled with frightened staff and heavily armed agents. He clenched his fist. "Well, I'll tell you this, I'm not losing my home to a bunch of walking corpses." "Sir, we need to get you somewhere safe," the agent urged. "We should head to the bunker." "Bunker? No way." Trump scoffed. "This is my house, and I'm not running from a bunch of dead guys. We fight. We lock this place down, and we win." The agent hesitated. "Sir, we don't have the numbers." "We have the best numbers," Trump interjected. "Huge numbers. And the best guns, too. Trust me. We're gonna make Mar-a-Lago great again." A groan from the other side of the door reminded them all that time was short. The agent took a deep breath. "All right. If we're staying, we need a plan." Trump cracked his knuckles. "Here's the plan. We get every gun, every barricade, every able-bodied fighter, and we turn this mansion into the safest place in America." He smirked. And then? We make these zombies regret messing with me. Outside, the undead horde continued to swell, slamming against the doors with greater force. The mansion, once a symbol of wealth and power, had become a fortress. The battle for Mar-a-Lago had begun. The pounding against the doors grew louder, like a relentless drumbeat of death. The undead weren't stopping. They wanted in. Donald Trump stood in the grand entry hall of Mar-a-Lago, his arms crossed as his security detail scrambled to reinforce the barricades. The doors, massive and ornate, weren't designed to withstand a full-blown zombie siege. "We need more barriers," barked the lead Secret Service agent, Reynolds. "Get furniture, anything heavy." A pair of guards dragged a massive oak table from the dining hall, flipping it onto its side against the door. Others stacked chairs, shelves, even a marble statue of Trump himself. Trump watched them work, shaking his head. "I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of bad ideas, but this is one of the worst. We need something big. Something tremendous." Reynolds wiped sweat from his brow. "Sir, we're working with what we have. Unless you have a better idea." "Of course, I do." Trump gestured toward the back of the room. "We've got golf carts outside. Line them up against the doors." Reynolds blinked. "You want to use golf carts as barricades?" "Think about it," Trump insisted. "They're heavy. They're sturdy. And believe me, they're the best golf carts. Top of the line. We stack 'em against the entrance, we slow those things down." Reynolds hesitated but nodded. "Fine. Let's move." The remaining guards rushed outside through the side entrance, retrieving 3 of Mar-a-Lago's luxury golf carts. They pushed them against the main doors, adding an extra layer of defense. Meanwhile, inside, the mansion staff gathered in the lounge. Maids, chefs, and assistants, all terrified, all looking for guidance. A woman in a pressed white uniform stepped forward. "Maria, the head housekeeper." "Mr. Trump, what do we do? We can't fight." Trump raised a hand. Maria, you're great. You really are. The best housekeeper. And I'll tell you what, we're going to win this thing. But I need you to do something very important." She swallowed. "What?" "I need you to go to the kitchen. Get all the food. Every last thing. Bring it to the ballroom. We have to be smart. Rations, you know? Can't have people getting hungry while we're in a crisis." Maria nodded, relieved to have a task, and hurried off with some of the staff. Another voice spoke up, this one deeper, gruffer. "And what about weapons?" Everyone turned. It was a man in tactical gear, one of the security contractors Trump had hired for private protection. His name tag read Graves. Trump smirked. "Ah, finally. Someone with the right mindset." He turned to Reynolds. "Tell me we've got an amazing stash of weapons." Reynolds hesitated. "We have sidearms. Some shotguns. A few rifles in the armory. But we weren't exactly expecting to fight a zombie army." "Well, that's bad planning, isn't it?" Trump scoffed. "I always say, be prepared. That's why we should have built a wall around Florida. Keep the zombies out." But no one listens. Graves cracked his knuckles. "Where's the armory?" "Downstairs," Reynolds said. "We need to get there before." A crash echoed through the mansion. Everyone turned toward the grand staircase. One of the massive windows had shattered. A pair of undead figures tumbled inside, landing in a broken heap on the floor. For a moment, they lay still. Then, with jerky, unnatural movements, they began to rise. A woman in a staff uniform screamed. "All right," Trump muttered, rolling up his sleeves. "Time for some beautiful zombie killing." Graves was already moving. He pulled a pistol from his holster and fired, pop pop, 2 headshots, 2 dead zombies. The bodies crumpled. But the damage was done. The breach had begun. "We have to move, now," Reynolds snapped. Trump turned to the group. All right, listen up. We're going to the armory. Everyone who can fight, grab a weapon. The rest of you? Stay in the ballroom and don't open the doors for anyone. More moans echoed from outside. More windows rattled. The undead weren't stopping. This is just the first wave, Reynolds muttered. They're going to keep coming. Trump adjusted his tie. Then we win. I don't lose, you hear me? This is my mansion, and we're not giving up an inch. With that, he led the charge toward the armory, as the undead slowly but surely closed in. The group moved quickly through the dimly lit corridors of Mar-a-Lago, every step echoing off the marble floors. The mansion, once a place of power and luxury, now felt like a tomb waiting to be filled. Donald Trump marched at the front, flanked by Reynolds and Graves. Behind them, a handful of security personnel and staff followed nervously, eyes darting at every shadow. Move, move, Reynolds urged, gripping his pistol. The armory's just ahead. They rounded a corner and nearly ran straight into a man with a shotgun. Hold it right there, the man barked, raising his weapon. The group froze. The man was rugged, mid-40s, wearing a tattered military-style jacket. Behind him stood 4 others, all armed. They weren't Secret Service, and they sure as hell weren't part of Trump's security. Survivors. Trump eyed them carefully. Who the hell are you? The leader smirked. Name's Cole. We were passing through when we saw your little problem. Thought we'd lend a hand. Graves narrowed his eyes. You don't look like the helping type. Cole chuckled. Fair enough. But here's the deal, we're well armed, we've got experience with these things, and we need a place to crash. Help us, we help you. Trump crossed his arms. Oh, so now I'm running a hotel for gun-toting squatters? Let me tell you something, I've had a lot of people ask for my help. You know what I always say? What's in it for me? Cole shrugged. We keep your mansion from getting overrun. You keep us fed and give us shelter. Seems like a fair trade. Reynolds stepped in. Sir, we do need more fighters. If we turn them away, they might become a problem. Graves nodded, but his hand hovered over his sidearm. Or they're already a problem, and we're just inviting trouble inside. Trump glanced at Cole's group. Something about them didn't sit right. But they had guns, and right now, that counted for something. He sighed. All right, fine. You want in? You fight for me. And let's get one thing straight, I run this place. My rules. You step out of line, you're out. Cole grinned. Sounds fair. But the look in his eyes said something else. They reached the armory without incident. It was a small but well-stocked room tucked behind a reinforced door near the lower level. Rifles, shotguns, ammunition, enough to put up a fight. The group wasted no time arming themselves. Trump picked up a sleek black shotgun, nodding approvingly. This is tremendous. I mean, look at this. The best shotgun. The best. Graves, ever the professional, loaded up with an assault rifle, checking the magazine. All right, we need to divide tasks. We set up firing points along the hallways, cover the weak spots, in. A loud crash interrupted him. Everyone tensed. From above, a chorus of groans echoed through the halls. The barricades were under attack. Reynolds cursed. They're in. We have to move, Graves said. Trump pumped his shotgun. Let's go. By the time they reached the main hall, chaos had erupted. The undead had forced their way through a broken window, spilling into the once elegant mansion like a tidal wave of rot and hunger. Secret Service agents fired controlled bursts, dropping zombies one by one. The golf cart barricade at the front doors rattled as more undead slammed against it. Trump's eyes darted across the battlefield. We need a huge counterattack. I'm talking the biggest. Graves handed him extra shells. You shoot, I'll cover. Trump raised the shotgun, aimed at a lumbering zombie in a torn business suit, and pulled the trigger. Boom! The blast obliterated the creature's head, spraying gore across the marble floor. Trump grinned. Now that was fantastic. Reynolds, meanwhile, fired rapidly, taking down another pair of attackers. We need to hold this ground. Cole and his men joined the fight, their rifles barking as they dropped more zombies. For a moment, it seemed like they had the upper hand. Then, one of Trump's staff screamed. A zombie had grabbed Maria, the head housekeeper. She struggled, but the creature's teeth were inches from her throat. Trump turned, eyes narrowing. He raised the shotgun, took a breath. Boom! The zombie's head vanished in a red mist. Maria fell back, gasping. Trump extended a hand. I told you, Maria. We're winning this thing. She grabbed his arm, eyes wide with gratitude. But not everyone was celebrating. As the last of the immediate zombies were put down, Graves turned, scanning the survivors. His eyes landed on Cole's group. They weren't looking at the fallen zombies. They were looking at the mansion. At the supplies. Graves muttered under his breath. I don't trust them. Reynolds nodded. They didn't just stumble in here. They were waiting. Cole caught their gaze and smirked. Trump, reloading his shotgun, turned to face him. All right, you freeloaders. You want it in? Now we make a real plan. Cole smiled, but his fingers twitched near his weapon. The battle wasn't just against the undead anymore. The air inside Mar-a-Lago was thick with the stench of gunpowder and death. Spent shell casings littered the marble floors, mingling with blood and bits of rotting flesh. The immediate wave of zombies had been repelled, but outside, the horde was still swelling, moaning, clawing, slamming against the mansion's defenses with relentless hunger. Donald Trump wiped sweat from his forehead, reloading his shotgun with smooth, practiced motions. He wasn't a man who backed down from a fight, not against the media, not against political enemies, and sure as hell not against a bunch of brainless walking corpses. Reynolds and Graves stood nearby, watching Cole and his men. The newcomers had fought well, but there was something about them that felt off. They weren't just survivors, they were opportunists. Cole caught them staring and smirked. Something wrong, boys? Graves stepped forward, gripping his rifle. Yeah. We don't trust you. Cole chuckled. Trust is a luxury these days. Trump glanced between them. All right, enough of the macho posturing. Here's the deal, I don't trust anyone who just waltzes into my mansion and expects a free ride. You want to stay? You pull your weight. Otherwise, you can hit the road and take your chances out there. Cole's grin never wavered. Oh, we'll pull our weight, Mr. President. We're just making sure you do the same. Before Trump could respond, a deep, resounding boom rattled the walls. Everyone froze. It came from the front of the mansion. Another boom. Then another. The hell is that? Graves muttered. Reynolds paled. They're hitting the golf carts. Trump's eyes widened. You're telling me these disgusting, rotting freaks are smart enough to ram a barricade? A final boom, then the unmistakable sound of metal crunching and collapsing. The barricade was gone. A terrible silence settled over the hall. Then, the doors exploded inward as the undead horde flooded inside. Open fire! Reynolds roared. The battle reignited in an instant. Bullets tore through decayed flesh as Trump's security team unleashed everything they had. Graves and Cole's men fought side by side, dropping zombies in rapid succession, but there were too many. For every one they killed, 3 more pushed forward, stepping over the fallen, shrieking and clawing. Trump fired his shotgun into the mass of bodies. Boom! Boom! Each blast shredded through the undead, but he could already see the tide turning against them. We need to fall back. Graves shouted, yanking a zombie off an agent and shoving his knife into its skull. Reynolds grabbed Trump's arm. Sir, we have to move. We can't hold them here. Trump grit his teeth. He hated running. But he wasn't stupid. All right, fine, he growled. Where to? The bunker, Reynolds said. It's the only place that's truly secure. Trump hesitated. His beautiful mansion, his home, was being overrun by rotting freaks, and now he was supposed to just abandon it? It felt like a loss. And Trump did not lose. But as he looked around, saw his people dying, saw the undead crawling over the furniture, saw the inescapable flood pushing toward them, he knew there was no choice. All right, he said, pumping his shotgun one last time. Everyone who's not dead, fall back. The retreat was brutal. The survivors sprinted through the corridors, the undead hot on their heels. Maria, the housekeeper, screamed as a zombie grabbed her from behind, only for Trump to blast its head clean off. Come on, Maria. You don't die unless I say so. The group barreled down a long hallway, reaching the entrance to the bunker, a private, reinforced underground shelter originally designed for Trump's safety in a crisis. Reynolds reached the keypad and began punching in the code. Behind them, the zombies closed in. Faster. Graves shouted, firing over his shoulder. Reynolds' fingers slipped, he entered the wrong code. A shrill beep sounded. Oh, come on, Trump muttered. You had one job, Reynolds. The undead were nearly upon them. Reynolds tried again, hands shaking. The lock clicked. Go! The survivors rushed inside. The last of Trump's security team dove through, Graves and Cole providing covering fire. Then Trump stepped through, spinning on his heel. He saw the wave of zombies mere feet away. And with a smirk, he slammed the heavy door shut. A thud echoed as the undead slammed into the sealed entrance, but they couldn't break through. For now, they were safe. Or so they thought. The bunker was dimly lit, lined with supplies, maps, and communication equipment. Everyone caught their breath. Trump adjusted his suit. Well, that was very close. Too close. Frankly, I think it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Maybe the worst. Maria sobbed in relief. Graves and Reynolds checked their ammo. And Cole? He was looking around the bunker too carefully. Trump noticed. So, Trump said slowly, eyes narrowing. This isn't your first bunker, is it? Cole smirked. Nope. And that's when Trump realized. The real danger wasn't just outside. It was inside the bunker with them. The thick steel door had barely sealed before the pounding started. Outside, the undead wailed and snarled, slamming their rotting fists against the metal. The sound was relentless, a reminder that the mansion above was lost. Inside the bunker, the survivors were catching their breath. Maria huddled against a supply shelf, trembling. Reynolds and Graves checked their ammo. Cole and his men lingered near the walls, eyes scanning the room with something other than exhaustion. Trump straightened his tie. All right, we're safe. Tremendously safe. Probably the safest people in Florida right now. So what's the plan? Reynolds exhaled. The bunker has enough supplies to last a few months. Water, food, weapons. We can wait this out, let the horde thin out, then make a move. Cole chuckled. See, that's where we have a problem. The air shifted. Reynolds and Graves immediately tensed, hands drifting toward their weapons. Trump's eyes narrowed. What kind of problem? Cole stepped forward, casual, confident. He gestured around the bunker. This is a very nice setup, Mr. President. The best I've seen since this whole mess started. Supplies, security, power. His smirk deepened. And we want it. Graves snapped up his rifle, but one of Cole's men was faster, he already had a shotgun leveled at him. Reynolds cursed, reaching for his pistol. Ah, Cole warned, wagging a finger. Nice and easy. Reynolds froze, fingers inches from his holster. Trump crossed his arms. Let me get this straight. You're robbing me? Me? Do you have any idea who you're messing with? Cole grinned. I know exactly who I'm messing with. The guy who built an empire, fought the system, and always came out on top. His smirk darkened. But here's the thing, so did I. Trump's jaw tightened. Cole continued, pacing. Here's the deal. You and your people? You're out. We take the bunker. You can go upstairs, play with your zombie friends, whatever. Maria let out a strangled sob. You can't do this. Cole sighed. Lady, I am doing this. Graves clenched his teeth. You need us to survive. Cole shrugged. Maybe. But we need this bunker more. Trump took a step forward. You think I'm just going to give up? Cole laughed. What are you gonna do, tweet at me? His men chuckled. Trump smirked. No. I'm going to win. And then, all hell broke loose. The bunker brawl. Graves lunged, his hand shot out, grabbing the barrel of the shotgun aimed at him. With a violent twist, he yanked it away, the weapon firing a deafening blast into the ceiling. Reynolds used the distraction. He dove for cover, pulling his pistol and firing. Pop! Pop! One of Cole's men went down, a bullet to the chest. Chaos erupted. Cole rushed Trump, swinging. Trump ducked, sidestepping at the last second. Wrong move, pal. With surprising speed, Trump slammed his elbow into Cole's ribs. The man staggered, but came back fast, throwing a wild punch. Trump caught it. For a brief moment, the two men locked eyes. Cole's smirk vanished. Trump twisted his arm, sending him crashing into a supply shelf. Cans and boxes rained down, burying him. Graves spun, using the stolen shotgun. Boom, another of Cole's men went down. Reynolds tackled the last one, slamming his head against the bunker floor. The fight lasted seconds, but when the dust settled, only one man was still standing from Cole's group. Cole groaned, trying to push himself up, only to find Trump's boot on his chest. Trump looked down at him. You lost. Cole coughed. This isn't over. Trump shook his head. Yeah, it is. He looked at Graves. Get the door. Graves walked over, unlocking the bunker entrance. Cole's eyes widened. Wait. Trump grabbed him by the collar, dragged him toward the door. And with one powerful shove, threw him outside. Cole landed hard on the floor outside the bunker. He scrambled up, eyes wild, just as the undead noticed him. No, no, and oh. The Horde swarmed him. Trump slammed the door shut. Silence. The survivors stood there, catching their breath. Maria was still shaking, eyes wide. That was. Trump dusted off his suit. That was tremendous. Graves exhaled, shaking his head. We should check the supplies, make sure nothing's missing. Reynolds sat down, wiping sweat from his forehead. We just barely made it. Trump smirked. We always make it. But outside, beyond the thick bunker walls, the undead still waited. And something else did, too. A new threat. A bigger one. Something that was still coming. The bunker was silent except for the distant thudding of the undead outside. Reynolds leaned against a supply crate, exhaling sharply. All right. That was close. Too close. Graves nodded, checking his rifle. But we've still got a bigger problem. The Horde isn't leaving. They know we're in here. Maria sat against the wall, knees pulled to her chest. What if we're trapped? Trump adjusted his suit, still standing tall despite the chaos. We're not trapped. We're just waiting. And believe me, I know how to wait out a storm. Nobody waits out a storm better than me. Reynolds exhaled. With all due respect, sir, zombies don't lose interest. If we don't do something, we'll run out of supplies before they give up. Trump frowned, glancing at the shelves. There was food, water, ammo, enough for a while, but not forever. Then, something unexpected happened. The bunker lights flickered. The room dimmed for a second, then the power came back. Graves stiffened. That's not good. Reynolds rushed to the bunker's control panel. His fingers moved quickly over the screen. The backup generator is running fine, but the main power is fluctuating. Trump folded his arms. Which means? Reynolds turned, face grim. Something's wrong with the mansion's electrical system. If we lose the backup generator, we lose air circulation. Lights. Security doors. Graves cursed. Then we'll be sitting ducks in the dark. Trump clenched his jaw. He hated this, being backed into a corner, waiting for disaster. That wasn't his style. He stepped forward. All right, here's the deal. We can sit here and hope nothing goes wrong. Or we take control of the situation. I never wait for things to get worse, I make things better. Reynolds exchanged glances with Graves. Sir, are you saying we go back up there? Trump nodded. I'm saying we fix this. The mission, restore power. The plan was simple but insanely dangerous. Reynolds, Graves, and Trump would go topside, move through the mansion, and get to the power room, a secured space near the back of the property that controlled the generator and electrical systems. Maria would stay in the bunker, guarding supplies. Before leaving, they armed up. Trump grabbed his trusty shotgun, slinging extra shells into his jacket pockets. All right, let's go make Mar-a-Lago great again. Reynolds muttered, can't believe we're doing this. They moved cautiously through the lower tunnels beneath the mansion, emergency escape routes built for security reasons. The walls dripped with condensation. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and something worse. Then, as they reached the stairwell leading up, Graves froze. He held up a hand. Everyone stopped. A sound. Not the low groans of zombies. Not the shuffling of the undead. Something mechanical. Beeping. Clicking. Graves whispered, someone else is here. Trump narrowed his eyes. I thought we got rid of the squatters. Reynolds pulled his pistol. Maybe not all of them. They moved up the stairs, weapons ready. And when they emerged into the mansion lobby, they saw the new threat. A drone. It hovered near the broken barricade, red lights blinking, its camera lens turning to face them. Then, beep, beep, beep. The drone detonated. The explosion was small but powerful, throwing them backward as the shockwave tore through the room. Graves hit the ground hard. What the hell? Reynolds coughed, ears ringing. That was a bomb. Someone's controlling those things. Trump pushed himself up, brushing dust from his sleeve. I knew this wasn't just zombies. Outside, beyond the shattered barricade, the undead groaned louder, drawn by the noise. But behind them, somewhere inside the mansion, another beeping noise started. Graves spun, eyes scanning the room. There's more. Reynolds cursed. We need to move, now. They ran. An even greater enemy. They reached the power room, slamming the heavy door shut behind them. Reynolds quickly accessed the panel. The system's been tampered with. Trump stepped beside him. You're saying someone's been messing with my power? Reynolds nodded. And that someone has drones. Graves reloaded his rifle. Which means there's another group out there. Not just looters. Something bigger. Trump exhaled. Oh, fantastic. First, the dead come for me. Then squatters. And now, some nerd with drones thinks they can take over my mansion? Reynolds was already working on restoring power. I'll have the system back up in a minute. Then, a voice crackled through the room. Not from their radios. From the mansion's intercom system. A woman's voice. Well, Mr. President. You're tougher than I thought. The group froze. Trump's eyes narrowed. Who the hell is this? The woman chuckled. Let's just say. I'm the real owner of this place now. Graves' grip on his rifle tightened. Reynolds whispered, this just got a whole lot worse. Trump stepped forward, eyes locked on the intercom speaker. "Listen, sweetheart, I don't know who you think you are, but let me tell you something, I don't lose. You want my house? You'll have to fight me for it." The woman laughed. "Oh, don't worry. I plan to." And then, the security cameras flickered on, revealing dozens of armed figures entering the mansion. They weren't zombies. They were mercenaries. The security monitors flickered, displaying dozens of armed figures moving through the ruined halls of Mar-a-Lago. They weren't looters. They weren't zombies. They were mercenaries. "Well," Trump muttered, cracking his knuckles. "This just got a hell of a lot more interesting." Reynolds turned from the screen, face pale. "Sir, these guys aren't scavengers. They're organized. Body armor, military weapons, this is an operation." Graves clenched his jaw. "And that woman on the intercom? She's leading them." The intercom crackled again. "Oh, I hope you're watching, Mr. President," the woman's voice purred. "Because this is my mansion now. You can run, you can hide, but in the end, we're taking everything." Trump smirked. "Sweetheart, you clearly don't know who you're messing with." Her laugh was cold. "We'll see." The intercom cut out. Then, a deep rumble shook the mansion. "What the hell was that?" Reynolds snapped, checking the monitors. Graves' eyes widened. "They're using C4. Blowing through barricades." Trump's smirk faded. He had fought plenty of battles, against the media, against political opponents, against global elites, but this was something new. And he wasn't about to lose. He turned to his men. "All right, listen up. This is my house. They want to fight? We'll give them one." Reynolds nodded, gripping his pistol. "We're outnumbered, but we've got home field advantage." Graves racked his rifle. "Let's hit them hard." Trump grabbed a shotgun. "Let's make Mar-a-Lago great again." Setting the trap. The power room was their stronghold, but they couldn't stay trapped. Instead, they set up a plan, turning the mansion's layout into a killing field. Step 1, lure the mercenaries into tight hallways where numbers didn't matter. Step 2, use the zombies against them. Step 3, wipe them out. The battle begins. The mercenaries moved in fast, sweeping through the mansion in formation. Their leader, still unseen, directed them through earpieces, their movements precise, disciplined. They weren't expecting resistance. And they definitely weren't expecting what came next. From the darkness of a wrecked hallway, Graves took the first shot, a clean sniper round to the lead mercenary's skull. The man collapsed instantly, blood spraying the marble floor. The other mercenaries froze, then snapped into action, taking cover. "Contact," one shouted. Then, the zombies appeared. Drawn by the gunfire, they poured in through the blown-out barricades, their undead shrieks filling the halls. The mercenaries cursed as the creatures rushed them. They opened fire, mowing down zombies, but in the chaos, Trump's team struck. Boom! Trump fired a shotgun, blasting a mercenary clean off his feet. Reynolds flanked left, unloading his pistol into two more. Graves moved like a ghost, sniping targets one by one, thinning the enemy forces. "Fall back," a mercenary shouted, dragging his wounded comrade. But there was nowhere to go, the zombies were everywhere. The mercenaries had walked into a trap, and they knew it. Face to face with the enemy. After several brutal minutes, the last surviving mercenaries retreated to the mansion courtyard, the undead nipping at their heels. Trump, Graves, and Reynolds pursued. As they emerged onto the ruined golf course, they saw her. The woman from the intercom. She stood near a black military truck, dressed in a sleek tactical suit, a pistol in one hand and a detonator in the other. Her eyes locked onto Trump. "So," she said with a smirk. "You're tougher than I thought." Trump leveled his shotgun. "And you're about to find out just how tough." She chuckled. "I don't think so." She lifted the detonator. and pressed the button. The final explosion. The mansion exploded. A massive fireball erupted from the upper floors, windows shattering, debris raining down over the battlefield. The ground shook as sections of the estate collapsed, smoke and fire consuming Mar-a-Lago. Trump's home, his fortress, was burning. Trump stared, rage boiling in his veins. The woman smirked. "You lose, Mr. President." Trump stepped forward, eyes blazing. "Lady, I never lose." He raised his shotgun. She fired first. The bullet whizzed past Trump's head. He didn't flinch. Boom! His shotgun roared. And the woman staggered, clutching her bleeding shoulder. Her smirk vanished. She turned, stumbling toward her truck, but Reynolds tackled her, slamming her to the ground. Graves rushed forward, grabbing the detonator. The mercenaries? They were done. The few who remained saw their leader fall, and ran. Zombies swarmed them. Trump exhaled. His mansion was burning, but he had won. Again. He walked over to the woman, still pinned beneath Reynolds. She glared up at him, breathing heavily. "This isn't over." Trump smirked. "Sweetheart, for you? It definitely is." He nodded to Reynolds. Reynolds knocked her out cold. Mar-a-Lago was burning. Flames licked the shattered remains of its walls, smoke billowing into the night sky. The once grand estate, Trump's fortress against the apocalypse, was now a charred ruin. But Trump? He was still standing. Reynolds wiped blood from his face. "We got her." He looked down at the unconscious woman, her tactical suit scorched from the explosion. "What do we do with her?" Trump adjusted his tie, despite the soot on his jacket. "She tried to take my house, my supplies, and my people." He smirked. "She doesn't get off easy." Graves slung his rifle. "She had mercs, drones, explosives." "Who is she?" Maria, who had just made it topside after the battle, looked at the wreckage in horror. "Does it even matter?" she whispered. "We barely survived." Trump glanced at the woman. "I want answers." He crouched down, lightly tapping her cheek. She groaned, blinking awake. The moment her eyes focused, she lunged, but Reynolds pinned her down before she could move. Trump chuckled. "Relax, sweetheart. You lost. Big time." She bared her teeth. "You think this is over?" Trump smirked. "Oh, it's over." He gestured to the burning wreckage. "Look around. Your mercenaries are gone. Your plan failed." The woman laughed, low and bitter. Trump's smirk faded. "What's so funny?" She looked up at him, grinning through the pain. "You still don't get it." Graves frowned. "Get what?" She tilted her head toward the horizon. Trump followed her gaze. And that's when he saw it. Lights. Dozens of them. Moving. Trump's stomach tightened. Vehicles. Armored trucks, moving toward Mar-a-Lago. "Reinforcements," Reynolds muttered. The woman grinned. "You think I came alone?" Maria's face went pale. "We're out of time." The last stand. The mansion was lost, the zombies were scattered, and now a second wave of enemies was incoming. Reynolds cursed. "We can't hold out against that." Graves shook his head. "Not with the mansion gone. We lost our cover." Trump's mind raced. "Think. Move fast. Take control." Then, his eyes locked onto something in the distance. The helipad. And there, almost untouched by the chaos, sat a helicopter. A beautiful, gleaming, fully operational Trump Force One chopper. Trump grinned. "Gentlemen. I think it's time we made an exit." Graves followed his gaze. "That thing still works?" Trump dusted off his sleeve. "Of course, it works. It's mine." Reynolds exhaled. "All right. We grab the chopper, get the hell out of here. But what about her? He nodded toward the woman. Trump looked down at her. She's coming with us. The woman scowled. Like hell I am. Trump smirked. Sweetheart, you don't have a choice. Escape from Mar-a-Lago. The chopper was across the courtyard, past burning wreckage and a growing horde of zombies. And the reinforcements were closing in. Graves fired the first shot, taking down an enemy soldier before he could reach cover. Reynolds and Maria sprinted for the helicopter, dodging gunfire. Trump? He carried the woman over his shoulder, one-handed, while firing his shotgun at anything that moved. She kicked and struggled. You arrogant. Trump smirked. You're welcome. They reached the helipad just as the enemy trucks rolled in, headlights blinding. Bullets whizzed past as Trump and the others jumped into the chopper. Reynolds scrambled into the pilot's seat. Hold on. The rotors spun to life, just as enemy troops poured in. Zombies were rushing the battlefield, attacking everyone, Trump's team, mercenaries, each other. It was pure chaos. Then, boom! A rocket-propelled grenade slammed into the helipad, just inches away. The chopper lifted off, engulfed in heat and smoke, just in time. They were airborne. Trump's last words. From the sky, Trump looked down at his burning empire. Mar-a-Lago was gone. But he wasn't. He sat back, exhaling as the adrenaline finally faded. Graves groaned. Well, that was a disaster. Reynolds glanced back from the cockpit. We're alive, aren't we? Maria hugged her knees. Barely. The woman, now handcuffed to the chopper's seat, glared at Trump. This isn't over. Trump grinned. Oh, it's definitely over. She smirked. There are more like me. You're not safe, Mr. President. Trump shrugged. I've never been safe. And that's why I always win. The chopper flew into the night, leaving the ruins of Mar-a-Lago behind. Trump cracked his knuckles. All right, boys, he said, glancing at the endless land ahead. Time to find a new home. The end, for now.